demonstrate your knowledge and skills, and to learn the necessary things what you require to pass, and also to pursue your dreams when you do pass. But how do you prepare for this high stake exams? Well, our guest this evening is a pro. He doesn't need any introduction. I think every household knows him very well, especially if your child is writing a grade 12, with his studies tips, time management skills, and how to prepare for your exams. We are continuing our show from last week. Assalamu alaikum, brother Junaid Bhayat.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And the listeners.
How are you doing this evening?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very blessed and fantastic.
Alhamdulillah.
Extremely hot in Durban today.
Yeah, it was. I believe it's going to be very cold tomorrow.
Cold front.
Yeah. Well, we're going to continue how to prepare yourself from last week.
Yeah, I've actually prepared some very interesting stuff for so I'm going to break it up into three parts. Revision and revision. We touched on it a little bit last week, but and then the second part I want to tackle actual exams, questions, tackling the different levels of exam questions, as well as like questions, front calls, and questions like that. And then the third part I want to cover about exam performance, how to performance and to be performing at your peak. And there's one more thing I want to cover today. Is I want to teach the so you guys, if you're listening, you need to get your pen and paper. If you ever have a mental or a memory blank, this is going to happen to a lot of students, especially during exams. So I'm going to teach you how to overcome any mental or memory blank out in just 4 steps. So those are the things that I'm going to cover. So let's get started, right? I know we're very pressed for time today. We only have like about 35 minutes. So the first part, let's talk about revision. Talk about doing revision sessions on a school day and 5 revision sessions on a non-school. Now I want to continue and let's add on to what we covered and we've done there. So besides having your times, you need to know for every single day of the week. You need to know what subject you are going to be studying. So everybody should write down on top of a line. They just put the M, T, W, T, F, S for each day of the week. And above that, you need to write down what subject you will be studying for the day. Now, the golden rule in studying different subjects is to keep it to one subject. You can go to 2 if you press for time. However, the research and the science has shown us that when we do more than 2 subjects a day, it leads to interference and confusion. So we don't want that. So once you've got that, now we need to know exactly how do we go about doing actual revision, how to revise for the work. And one of the important things is a lot of students think just reading is they that they've done revision. So there's 5 things we need to do. Number 1 is extraction. You need to extract all the keywords, key ideas, and key points. Number 2, you need to visualize it. And number 3, you need to verbalize it, say it out, explain it in your own. Number 3, visualize. Verbalize. Number 4, I must actually capture that information. So I need to summarize it. And number 5 is I need to assess. I need to test myself to see how well I know the information. So let's go back to the time thing. And one of the things I want to talk about is the bedtime. On days that you are writing exams, you need to cover, these are basically 7 metric bedtime secrets for exams. And I actually want to talk about this because this has a direct impact on the performance and results that you're going to produce. So number 1, when it's every night, just before bedtime, you want to review and revise what you covered for the whole day, an hour before bed. And at the same time, 1 hour before you go to bed, you need to disconnect and disconnect from all technology. This is whether it's your cell phone, whether it's a TV, whether it's a laptop, tablet, any device, technology, you want to disconnect from it. Several reasons. One is the device actually associates to daytime because it has what we call backlight. So that backlight tricks the brain into thinking it's daytime and you stay awake. And the second very important thing about why we need to disconnect from the technology is that your memory. The memory, just before it goes to sleep, what was the last things you did? The memory starts sorting out all of that information first. There's something called the gestalt, right? The gestalt's job is to actually stack memory and know exactly where it put it so that you can retrieve it easily. So 1 hour before bed, you need to actually make sure there's no technology so that you're totally disconnected. And the last thing you do was schoolwork, not being on social media and other things, or watching videos because that's going to play on your subconscious mind. You want the subconscious mind to organize the memory. The second very big thing that you need to do when you're in bed, you need to visualize yourself in the exam. Actually visualize yourself in the exam room. So you need to visualize yourself being very confident, cool, calm and collected, knowing the work, and you can picture yourself actually smiling and answering confidently. Another very big thing besides the visualization when you get into bed is to also reflect and think about all the things that you've learned in the day from the revision that you did. You need to reflect and think about it. How well do I know it? What do I need to go and improve on? What do I need to go and brush up on? Basically, moving from progress to getting the kind of results that you look for. We're striving for progress, not perfection. And the last thing is also you wanna use some positive affirmation, telling yourself, "I got this. I know my work. I can smash this test." You have to start talking to yourself very positively. That's like having a winning attitude. And on the morning of an exam, you want to do some light stretches. The moment you wake up, right? Just stretch your hands, like standing up, and you scored a goal. We call this a power pose. So when you put your hands up, right, and you act as though you just won and scored a goal, it puts you into what we call a state of absolute certainty. So your confidence levels and your self-esteem and belief in yourself suddenly shoots up, especially when your hands are above your shoulder. So just in your bed, just stretch, and we're making it a purposeful stretch in the bed to actually help us perform well in the exam. So I want you to do what we call a power pose, and after that, also get used to what I call a power move as well, where you can tell yourself, "I got this," and you pump it, and you pump your first hand, clench your first hand, like you just scored a goal. That becomes your power move for this exam period. And every time you need to, feel more confident, you do your power move, and it automatically triggers that feeling of confidence and this high level of where I know my work and I'm damn good. I got this. So the other very big thing is start drinking your water very early in the morning. You want to start as soon as you wake up. You want to start drinking that water. And remember last week I spoke about it. I said for every kilos of body mass, we need to have 1.25 liters of water. So you work it out. But you're probably going to need about 2 to 2.5 liters of water on a daily basis. And start sipping it. And then manage your face. Guys, I spoke about this as well last week. Manage your face. Even if you feel down or sad, just take a smile. Right? Because what we've learned from the American psychologist who specializes in neuroscience of learning is that if you've got the wrong face, it's going to impact your face, right? Which also impacts the results. So you want to have the right face where you're smiling. I got it. They say that when you've got the bad face, oh man, I got to learn this, or I don't know that. The system starts resisting, and that's the reason why it takes longer to learn and to understand what you are learning. So that's the key things on the morning. The sleeping before, the night before exam, and in the morning. Then before you leave, you want to and you must have a good breakfast. Eat healthy. We spoke about having brain foods, but drink something that's going to boost your energy as well, and make sure you got enough of that water. All right. So now I want to go into the next part, and now I want to talk a little bit about the exams, the exam questions and the different levels of questions that we get. So I'm not sure if students do know that there are 6 levels of exam questions, and generally you will be tested on, at least most, confirmed you're going to get the first 4 levels. So what are those levels of questions? What is the examiner expecting of you? How are they expecting you to answer? The first level is called testing knowledge, right? It's basically straightforward. It's like, just testing your memory. They'll ask you which year this happened, or what was this place. It's straightforward. It's basically they testing your memory and see how well you can remember facts and details and data. The second level, okay, but yeah, the first one will have questions like, what is the biggest city in South Africa? Or who wrote the book Romeo and Juliet? Something like how many meters in a kilometer, or how many centimeters in a meter. It's straightforward that you just need to remember. So you'll have a lot of question words like who, find, what, where, when. That's testing knowledge. That's level 1. Now remember, you're always going to get level 1 questions. There's probably going to be up to 20% of level 1 questions where they need everybody to get that 20%. Then you go to level 2. Level 2 questions, it's all about comprehension. And it's about, you understanding what you revised and what you learned and what you worked. So I like to call it being able to organize the information in your mind in a meaningful way that you understand. That's what comprehension means, right? So you will get questions like, what's the main idea in this comprehension story? Or they might ask you, how could you illustrate the water cycle? They might ask you a question like, if we put 4 blocks together, what shape do they form? So it's basically testing your comprehension and your level of understanding. They use words like describe, explain, discuss, compare, outline. You might even get one where they say your own words. They just want to test your level of understanding. That's level 2. Now level 2 again, you'll generally get at least 20% again of marks. If you master just level 1 and level 2 questions, you're definitely going to get at least 40% in that test and exam. Now remember guys, in the last session we spoke about using technology to your benefit. So you go into your ChatGPT or your AI, whichever tool you're using, and you upload the past year papers, and then you tell it, extract for me all level 1 questions. You can even tell it to create new level 1 questions for you based on the paper that you uploaded. So what happens is now you can test yourself on all the different levels of questions. So that was level 2. Let's go to level 3. Now remember, by level 3, the questions are now going to start getting much harder. And they know that generally 40 to 50% of students are not going to get these questions right. This is generally for your average and above average. So level 3 is all about putting into use or applying what's called application, right? So they'll tell you how to take what you've learned and use it in a situation or a scenario. What they want to know is, how are you getting? They want to know your process of getting to the answer. This is application. So an example of an application question would be that I could tell you, if you had a 5-liter bucket full of water and you've got a 500 milliliter can or maybe a bottle, how would you use, or how would you use that 500-liter bottle, the half a liter bottle, to empty the bucket? How many times do you need to take it, dip it in, fill it up, empty? You need to explain that. That's what they're looking for. How are you going to apply your knowledge? There's multiplication, there's calculations there. They might ask you another question for application. What happens when you multiply any number by, for example, 10? We know that you just add a zero. You're applying what you know to the knowledge. So the kind of question words you're going to put in the exam is words like apply, manipulate, employ, demonstrate, interpret. Those are the kind of words they're going to use for application level questions. That's level 3. And then your level 4 questions are generally the very high level questions. They know that generally 10 to 12% of students will only get these right. And this is about what we call analyzing, analytical thinking. Just to digress a little bit, Sumaya, listeners and even parents, data analysis is going to become a huge career in future because of technology having so much of data and information. You're going to need experts who can analyze data and information that artificial intelligence and all these things are gathering. You need to be able to analyze and give summaries of those of the things that we analyze. So it's going to become a huge career. People pay attention to this. It's going to be a skill that's in huge demand. So what is analysis questions? It's the 4th level, and it's the one where normally they want you to break things down. They want you to simplify it. They want you to give reasons, or they want you to give what caused something. Basically, like a motive. You get questions like this for analysis. What are some of the factors causing load shedding in South Africa? Right? So now you need to start breaking it down and giving all the break. You can get one in like social science. Why did the English go to war with the Zulus? When the English were here. Why do we call some living animals mammals? Now you need to break it down and give reasons and explain. So most of the time you need to break it down and explain, giving good reasons why you said that. And very often you need to have an opinion. Always create an opinion. What happens is you can use your opinion in a conclusion of why you gave your reason and why you said all the things you said. So the kind of words you'll have in an analysis level 4 question, you'll have words like why, draw conclusions, simplify, analyze. Those are the kind of words, question words they will use in a level 4 exam question. Level 5 is about becoming very creative and innovative. We call this synthesizing, right? So they want you to come up with ideas and new solutions and new ways to solve problems. They could ask you questions like, for example, how would life be different if we could breathe underwater? Yeah. It's something that you need to start thinking very abstract, out of the box. So this is what we talk about lateral thinking. You got to come up, think very differently. They could tell you, there's a whole lot of words, put these words together to formulate a complete sentence. Or they could tell you, construct a building using only 4,000 blocks, right? The kind of words you're going to get in this question of level 5 synthesis, they'll tell you construct, design, create, formulate, produce, plan. Another very big one that just came to my mind, compare. They use that word a lot, compare. That's synthesis. Okay, so that's level 5. And level 6 question is the highest level. It's more about opinions and views. It's basically how you would go about doing something. And I always argue with the schooling system that if you ask for somebody's opinion, whatever their opinion is, you need to give them full marks. That's their opinion. Why should we, cut them? But, like they say, they're looking for certain things in your opinion or view to test your depth of knowledge. So a type of question that they will use in level 6, called evaluation. It's testing your level of thinking. They will ask you, for example, why do you think, what do you think of apartheid in South Africa before 1994? It now means you need to start evaluating, thinking, what are your views, what are your opinions, how it impacted then, how it impacted now. So you got to break it down and test your level of thinking. You need to evaluate the differences, the similarities, and things like that. So they can even ask you a question: why do you think Nelson Mandela was so famous? I like to use that one for the younger kids, and they understand it well. So they will ask.
Junaid, let's take a short ad break, and we'll continue.
Okay. All right. Fantastic.
You are listening to School Matters with Sumaya Khan.
There are over 200 million orphans globally. We can't help all of them, but what if we each helped just one? The Al Imdad Foundation now gives you an opportunity to help just one orphan from Syria or Palestine. For just 500 Rand per month, you can help safeguard the dignity of an orphan by assisting them with basic needs such as food, clothing, shelter, medical care, and attention. Our orphan sponsorship program allows you to track the progress of your orphan through regular feedback. Make a difference in the life of an orphan today. Visit alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
A reminder that in the atrium overport, you will find Chippewa Spur, our halal steak sizzle, our beef ribs are delicious, and our burgers are legendary. The combos are perfect for big appetites. We have plant-based options too, and mouth-watering desserts. Pop in anytime for all your favorite Spur food. We are open from 8 in the morning to 9 p.m. Chippewa Spur at the atrium. People with a taste for life.
Habibia Sufi Sahib Basha Pir Darbar, Riverside, Durban, Kenville, and the Sufi Sahib family invites you and your family to the 132nd Urus Sharif of Hazrat Sheikh Ahmed Basha Pir Rahmatullahi Ta'ala Alayh from the 29th August 2024 to the 1st of September 2024. Thursday, 29th August 2024 at the HSBP Darbar, Kenville. Program starts after Maghrib Salah. Langar supper will be served. Special accommodation for ladies.
Getting you through your day. Radio Al Ansar.
Every student can learn, just not on the same day or the same way. Education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire. Education's purpose is to replace an empty mind with an opened one.
Join Sumaya Khan every Tuesdays between 7 and 8 p.m. for an educational evening exclusive to Radio Al Ansar.
Your education is a dress rehearsal for a life that is yours to lead. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to School Matters. Yes, our grade 12 learners are busy with their trial exams. We have Brother Junaid, Bhayat, life coach, who are giving us valuable tips. You may continue.
Jazakallah. Welcome back, listeners. So just finish off on that level 6 hours thing. Evaluation. The kind of words they will use in the exam question for level 6 questions are words like assess, evaluate, judge, value, criticize. Right. So those are the 6 levels. Now let's get into actual exam strategies on the morning or the day you actually write an exam. Some general rules. Never ever study on morning of an exam. There's only one exception to this rule. And that is if you are writing an evening or an afternoon paper. Right? So otherwise, it's going to create just like tips. When you perform in Tarawih, they always tell you after iftar, don't go over the work because now it starts creating interference and you start getting more confused. You start doubting. Same also with exams. You don't want to start or you don't want to be studying that 2-3 hours before an exam. Right? Number two, very important, matriculants do not discuss what you learned, and what you expect to come out. Very often, I'm finding that a lot of them are confusing each other. Where somebody is saying, "No, it's not supposed to be like that. You're supposed to do it like this. The teacher taught us like this." So don't discuss what you've learned and what you've covered. You just talk about other things, socialize, but tell them politely, "I don't want to discuss the paper. I'm ready, and I will take it to the paper. We can discuss it after." The next very important thing is know how to calculate your time. Remember, you're writing a 3-hour paper. You need to know when is your halfway, midpoint. The general rule I always tell vigilance, use 1 minute, 1 mark. So if the question is 5 marks, you only spend no more than 5 minutes on it. And other very important thing is, after 30 seconds, if you don't know an answer to a question, especially if it's a 1 mark, 2 mark, or 3 mark question, after 30 minutes to 30 seconds to 45 seconds, don't know the answer, move on to the next one. You can come back to it at a later stage. And the last very big exam strategy is start with what you know. The moment they tell you, okay, here's your paper, you've got 10 minutes to read it and look at it and write, in that time, look for questions that you already know the answer to. So the moment they tell you, okay, begin writing, you now don't have to now start 1.1. Right? You don't have to start in order. You can start with, for example, say, right, 1.7, answer, 1.9. You want to start with all the questions that you know the answers to, 3.2, 3.7. The reason for this is, it actually impacts how well you're going to do it. I'll play you a scenario, the normal scenario. If you start normally 1.1, answer, 1.7, answer, then you can go 1.2, okay, I'm not sure, let me move to the next one, you go 1.5, and then you say, okay, there's another one, I don't know, let me come to. So what happens is, in that first 5 minutes, your mind says, okay, I already got 2 or 3 blanks, looks like it's going to be a hard paper. So automatically the brain assumes it's going to be a hard paper, because you have a few blanks. But the brain sometimes takes a few minutes, sometimes up to 10, 15 before it gets into gear. So to avoid all of that, you want to buff the brain that you know everything, and you just start with that first 5 minutes, you just answering, no. So you answered 4.1, 3.2, 1.7, all the answers that you know. The brain goes, wow, this is not too bad. I know a lot of answers here. It actually creates this kind of confidence, even though it's like false, but we just block the brain to actually get into it. Right. A little bit about exam questions. The most important one is multiple choice questions. Right? We call them MCQs, and every single student must get used to MCQs, because for the rest of your life, when you are assessed for writing an exam, it's going to be in multiple choice questions. Whether you're in the IT industry, whether you're in the medical industry, whichever industry, even at university, you're going to get a lot of multiple choice questions. In the corporate professional world, a lot of multiple choice questions. So what's the general rule? When you get a multiple choice question, I say the first use the one hand method, meaning you block out all the answers, so you can't see it. You read the question and answer it from your knowledge. How well do I know it? Then when you know the answer, now you look at the option. Now you see it. The other very big thing that you can do that will help you is, I read the question, I don't know the answer. Mark out the ones that are wrong, process of elimination. And very often you'll be left with just 2. And normally those 2 are kind of like close or opposite of each other. So you need to now start looking and determining. And the other very big pointer is, when you look at other questions in the paper, you'll find answers to multiple choice questions. Very often. Right? So don't look for any tricks or anything. Right? If you don't know the answer, still rephrase the question in your own words. You can underline keywords, circle the keywords, and see from there, how well do I know it? And as last resort, if you don't know the answer and you've left it blank, you finished your paper and now you come back to the blanks. We don't want to leave any blanks. If you have to take a guess, I've done a lot of analytical research, right, of guessing correctly. So in South Africa, for matriculants, if you want to guess in a multiple choice question, 40% of the time B is the correct answer. And 30% of the time C is the correct answer. So if you ever have to guess, you should rather guess on either B or C, because it's 70% chance of you getting it correct. They say A is 20% correct, getting it correct, and D is generally about 10%. So if you have to take a guess, you want to guess either B or C gives you a higher chance of getting it correct. When it comes to reading and comprehension, the most important thing about reading and comprehension passage, you're going to do two languages, home language and your first additional language. So you're going to get your reading comprehension. Don't ever read the passage first. Big mistake. Always read the questions first. Because if you read the passage first, what are you looking for? Somebody might say, okay, I'm looking for keywords. It's not going to help you that much. But if you read the questions first, now, when you're reading the passage, automatically the brain is seeking out answers. There's an answer to that. There was a question there. Automatically start seeking out the answers. So remember this, right? For your reading and comprehension, read the passage. Don't read the passage first. Read the questions first and read it twice. Read it twice, loud enough for you to hear yourself. Okay. Let's go to true and false questions. Okay. Now, this is another one that you're going to get there. Fill in the blanks, you're going to get that one as well. But generally, true or false question, it's something where they use like statements, right? And you need to pick up on those statements, words that they use. For example, if the statement in a true or false question has words like always, everybody, no, never, every, all, or none, very often they tend to be false, right? And if the statement has words like often, sometimes, most, usually, they very often tend to be true. Okay, so if you ever see any unfamiliar word, any unfamiliar term or phrase that's in the question, very often it's going to be incorrect. Okay. So if another very big one is if, like, for example, they ask you true and false, or it can even be in a multiple choice question, where, for example, one of the options is all of the above in a multiple choice question, range or multiple choice. If one of the options is all of the above, right, and only two or three, let's just say 2 out of the 4 actually is correct, then you will choose all of the above. This was told to me by an examiner. I actually would have said, I used to always say no, because all of the above is not applying. But I was told by an examiner, 2 out of the 4 actually applies, then actually all of the above is the correct answer. So take that into consideration. Now, coming back into the true and false, for a statement to be true, every single part of that statement that is in the question must be true, right? And as a student, you will always assume the statements are true unless you are told otherwise. Okay, so very often, if there's a false answer, they're going to ask you for a reason. They want a justification, right? So when you see words like since, because, then they want to actually want a reason to explain it. So that's a little bit about true and false. Again, when it comes to true and false, remember that they use double negatives. This is like playing with words, right? For example, they might tell you, he is not unintelligent. So the not actually covers, because there's two negatives there, not and unintelligent, right? Which actually means he is intelligent. Right, so we got to be careful for those kind of. Another very big one is where, for example, they'll ask you the question: true or false? A cloudy sky is an unclear sky. True or false? Now, a lot of people normally say false, but it's actually true because a negative there. It's very important that you know this in terms of your true and falses. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about if you have a mental or a memory blank out. I can see I only have like 5 minutes left. So let us talk about if you have a mental or a memory blank out during the exam. Number one, most important thing, it's you got to keep your eyes fixed straight in front of you. And look up straight to the ceiling, where the wall and the ceiling in the hall, in the exam hall that you are writing. Now, why am I asking you to do this? Normally, when a person has a mental blank out, the first thing they do is they panic and they start looking around. When you start looking around, you're looking at other people, you say, oh, that person wrote 2 pages, that person wrote half page. So you're taking too much of information, making your brain overwhelmed even more. So by you just looking straight in front of you, where the ceiling and the wall meets, we are narrowing your focus down, one, and also at the same time, we're cutting out all that other information. That you're looking at other people and wondering and something. We want to cut it out. So you're just going to look straight ahead. Look at where the ceiling and the wall meets. Now the reason, the science behind why we look where the ceiling and the wall meets is this is what you do when you access memory. The eyes always go up. So we're doing what normally happens automatically in the body. We're now doing it manually. Just think about it. When you're writing, the first thing we do, we look up. So what we know from neuroscience is the eye always moves up when we're accessing memory. So now we close our spot, we're looking straight ahead of us. Now you got to breathe in. You got to take a deep, long inhale, and you must have a very long exhale, longer than the inhale. You have a longer exhale. You do this 4 times, 3 to 4 times. Basically doing the sound like. Because sounds have meaning, and when you go, you're telling the brain, chill out, relax. Right? So when you do that 4 times, the brain starts calming down. And then the third step is now you take your 2 index fingers, and you put them on the edge of your desk that you are writing on desk, right? On the both corners, and you're still looking straight ahead in front at the point where the ceiling and the wall meet. And through the corner of your eyes, you move your both index fingers. Through the corner of your eyes, you must be able to your fingers moving. Now I know people might see you doing this in the exam hall and might think you're doing weird things. Remember, this is your life, this is your exam. Forget about what others think right now. You need the information to flow because you just had a blank out. So when the moment you can see your hands, your both fingers moving, your peripheral vision has kicked in. So what you do is you're going to feel as though. So all you do now is you give yourself a command. You have to command the brain. You have to tell the brain, I have prepared for this exam. For the next 2 hours, I will be answering all the questions because I know the answers and I prepared. You have to give yourself a command. Normally, people give the question, they give the brain the command, I blanked out. Oh God, I blanked out. When you say I blanked out, you're actually telling the brain, I blanked out, so I can't remember anything. So now you want to tell it, over the next 3 hours, I will be answering all the questions because I prepared for it and I know it. And you'll find that information will start flowing again. That's why we call this the flow state. Right? Within less than 2 minutes, in 90 seconds, information starts flowing in. The key is keeping your gaze, your eyes locked onto where the wall and the ceiling meet. Okay. So that's a little bit about if you have a mental or a memory blank out. That's the 4 steps you've got to carry out. Now, the last part, and I'll conclude, is I want to talk about a 10-step ladder to exam performance. So if you draw a ladder, a normal ladder, what we climb up and go up building, right? So you'll have a ladder, and you'll have 1 step, 3 steps, 4 steps, and 5 steps. Leave you with 5 blocks. So on the left-hand side of the ladder, on the bottom, you'll put down number one, and on the bottom, across that, you'll put number two. On the next step, you'll put 3 and 4. On the third step, you'll put 5 and 6. On the next step, you'll put 7 and 8. And like that, the next step, 9 and 10. So let's talk about what goes in the first step. On the first step, for every 1 hour of studying,
Brother, look at the time. We'll have to round up.
Okay,
It's
okay.
8 o'clock.
So let me finish this. I'll be finished in like 10 seconds. On the first step, for every 1 hour of studying, you need to have 2 breaks. You study for 20 minutes, have a 10-minute break. Do another 20 minutes, and 10-minute break. That's your 1 hour. The second step is 3 to 4. 3 to 4 times a week, you need to be exercising, physical exercise, right? At least 20 minutes. The fourth step, the third step, which is actually number 5 and 6. You need to have 5 or 6 little meals. It must be fuel, right? Fuel for the brain. And then you've got 7 to 8, right? That 7 to 8 is the fourth step on the ladder. That is, you need to have 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And the last one, 9 to 10 big glasses of water.
Jazakallah so much. Time is never enough for you. Jazakallah so much for imparting your knowledge and your
Always a
free
pleasure.
coaching. Jazakallah. That was Brother Junaid
Jazakallah
Bhayat.
khair.
Well, I'd like to thank our technician for making the show possible. My email address is sumayakhan.alansar@outlook.com. Success is no accident. It's hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice, and most of all, love of what you're doing or learning. And do not forget, if you're a principal or someone from a school, you can email me your motivational letter for your school to qualify for something free from School Matters. Assalamu alaikum.
An informative Islamic global perspective. This is